What's up YouTube, Christo here, and I've got another vinyl collection video for you. I'm going to be looking at Sleep as well as Meat Puppets. And then right after that, got a big stack of Residence records. I'm going to go through those. Yeah, let's get into Sleep and Meat Puppets. A bit of history with these bands. A friend introduced me to Sleep when I was in high school, like years and years and years after their solo record came out, and probably about the time I was into like Isis and Godflesh and stuff, so I really liked them. They were just so heavy, and they had this really unique lo-fi thing that I wasn't really used to in metal yet. I wouldn't discover kind of lo-fi metal. For a few years. I guess you could even say that was one of my gateways into kind of lo-fi metal. And yeah, I really enjoyed them, but didn't overly get into them until probably around my, kind of internet era, high-speed internet era, probably around 2007, 2008, and, kind of got back into Sleep again, and still really enjoy them to this day. So the first record I've got here, Dope Smoker. This is the black vinyl version, as you can tell up here. Kind of annoyed me. One of my annoyances with Amazon, I actually ordered this because it was listed as the purple vinyl that is far more collectible than the black vinyl. It arrived, it was black. I was kind of ticked. I corresponded with them, and they wouldn't offer me a partial refund. They would either just return it in full, or I kept it, one or the other. So I just ended up keeping it because I was pretty ticked off, because I could have bought this like for probably about a comparable price, the black version, like locally, which I'd rather do. But either way, this is a brilliant record, and this pressing itself is phenomenal. Southern Lord do a really good job, as I can tell, of pressing and repressing records. The sound just like literally jumps off the vinyl when I listen to this on my turntable. It's pretty special. I'd probably say, like, overall this is probably my favorite Sleep record, but well, it's next, so I'm just going to get to it right now. This one, yeah, I have a real special place for this one, because it was my introduction to them, and this definitely has a much more lo-fi aesthetic than their later records. Even the record that followed this had a very different, well-produced sound, or comparably so at least. But yeah, this started it for me for Sleep. I love this record back in probably 98 or 99. My buddy lent it to me on CD, and I just loved it, absolutely loved it. Yeah, I still listen to this a lot today. It's pretty solid from cover to cover. There's not really anything on here that I dislike. Yeah, really good record. You can still find this pretty cheaply. It's a recent repressing or whatever, but it still sounds pretty good. This one I did get a digital download with, which is cool, because my other Sleep records I have not, which is kind of annoying. So this is a recent release. I don't know, it was released a while ago, I believe, as a tour single, and then they re-released it on numerous types of colored vinyl. This is the Clarity. It's okay. It's a little bit more sterile and overproduced than most of their other work. I believe this is like their newest released original studio track. Yeah, I've got orange and red, as you can obviously see. Both of these did come with splits in the PVC casing, which is kind of annoying because it is actually custom, as you can see. This glows in the dark, which is cool because I didn't even realize when I bought it that it glows in the dark. Now, I don't know if you're going to see this, but there is an etching on the B-side. It is literally just a 1 10-minute song. There it is. There's an astronaut kind of cool. And yeah, the orange has the same one. There were different colors and for different markets and stuff. I believe the red one was the one that I pre-ordered, and I ended up getting the orange one from a seller on Discogs for really cheap, just kind of added into an order. I can't remember, this might have been the European version. I don't remember, but I know I think there's at least 4 or 5 different colors, not including the original release from a couple years ago. This, I honestly have to admit, I know very, very little about. I have literally not even listened to this, like the vinyl yet. I had the MP3 of this years and years ago, and I definitely heard it, but I don't think I've listened to this since I picked it up on vinyl. Sleep's Holy Mountain. It kind of seems, from what I've seen, to fall in between other Sleep records for people's favorites, and kind of the same with me. Kind of like a translucent purple vinyl that does look really cool. I like that. But yeah, I really don't think I've even listened to this. No, in fact, there's lots of little cardboard shreds all over it, so I've almost certainly not, because I wouldn't put that on my turntable in that condition. Okay, Meat Puppets. My interest in Meat Puppets goes back quite a ways, for me at least. I started listening to them in high school, and it was kind of interesting because Backwater was a pretty big track for them, you know, considering what they had done before that. But Nirvana obviously helped bring them to stardom. They covered a few of their tracks on their Unplugged New York, and the two brothers from Meat Puppets actually came and performed with them, which is really cool. So I don't remember which came first, but I definitely knew those songs from Unplugged New York, and I really liked them. And I really liked Backwater, but I don't think I put together that it was actually them covering it until later. I was like 14, and this was like a long time before, you know, database sites and the internet was readily available where I live, so at least it is kind of forgivable. But yeah, kind of interesting. I've revisited Meat Puppets a few times since then. Even though I did like Backwater, the single from Too High to Die, I never liked the rest of the album. And yeah, probably a decade later, kind of in my high-speed internet age, I downloaded a bunch of Meat Puppet stuff, and I just did not like it. It was too poppy, well-produced, kind of goofy and stuff. But I did always like 2, which we'll get there in a minute. But only recently I've kind of picked up a few Meat Puppets records and go, you know what, I kind of get it now, I understand them. Probably my favorite record from start to finish. I think also probably their most listenable. Also, I think it is kind of a really different change in sound that would continue throughout the rest of their kind of indie days, let's say. Up on the Sun. This is a really great record, and I'm very happy to have an SST pressing, which is kind of cool. I remember when I first found out Meat Puppets were on SST, I was like, what? There's no way. They're like a pop rock band, but you know, they did sound quite different in their early days. Although this is a pretty poppy record. I really do enjoy it now. Maybe I'm just getting old or whatever, and I enjoy like the kind of mid-era Meat Puppets now. But I like this. I think this is a really good record. I got this at a record show for a decent price. Nothing amazing, but it's in really good condition. It has the original inner sleeve, which I have changed out because I don't want it to get ripped. So I'm not even going to take it out of the wrapper because it is black vinyl as well. But that's I think this is a good introduction to Meat Puppets as well. Out My Way. This is an EP that is a reissue on MVD, and on the MVD version there's a whole bunch of bonus tracks, which is kind of cool because I really wanted to get the SST version just to kind of keep with that theme, but it was just going to be too much, and so I ordered this for considerably less. And yeah, I didn't realize, I think there's only 4 or 6. I always do this, I always try to count the number of songs, but there's something like 4 tracks on the actual EP, but on the reissue there's like 6 bonus tracks, the MVD version. Now, to be fair, none of the bonus tracks are that great, and even the 4 or 6 actual tracks in the EP are just okay at best. It's not bad. I think I paid like $13 for it or something. Now this is it. A lot of people will say this is the best Meat Puppets record, and I agree with them. Even though I do really like Up on the Sun, I find it to be nice and easy to listen to. This is just an absolute work of, I don't know, poetic, artistic genius. This is their legendary 2 that I believe all the songs that Nirvana covered were off of. Plateau. Oh, Me, Lake of Fire. Yeah. This is a very different sound from this, which I believe is their next was their album after this, and a very dramatic change in sound from the album or albums that precede this. This just being, you know, a complete, I don't know. There's definitely like country elements to this, there's pop elements, there's psychedelic elements. It's just kind of a bit of everything, which is great. It's just such a unique sound. Unfortunately, this isn't an SST version. The SST versions are pretty rare, pretty desirable. I think this is MVD as well. Yeah, MVD repressing, quite recent. Such an amazing album. Not the easiest to listen to. You kind of have to be into like psychedelic alt country to get this, but it's pretty awesome album nonetheless. Monsters. I think this is kind of one of their, you know, in between albums. I don't think I've ever seen anyone or heard anyone say this is their favorite Meat Puppets record. It's good, but it's not great. It doesn't really stand out in terms of 2 and Up on the Sun to me. I did buy this new, but it is on SST, so it must have been pressed by them not too long ago, because most of the Meat Puppet stuff is on MVD or other labels now, as I recall. So it was kind of cool. There is a little notch in the corner here, so it must have been in a cutout bin somewhere. But it's not a bad album. It's by no means their best by any stretch, but it's definitely not a bad record. I'd say it's just kind of like a standard Up on the Sun or Post 2 album. Okay. Mirage. This one I do see people cite as, you know, maybe not the best, but one of the better Meat Puppets records. And, you know, I'd agree, it's a good record. It's pretty easy to listen to. It's got some cool neon psychedelic artwork there. And I do have a fairly rare colored pressing. Some very weird Meat Puppets-esque artwork on the inner sleeve. And I didn't even know that, remember this was in here. It's kind of cool, an original SST mail order catalog kind of thing. But yeah, this is on really nice kind of pink marbled vinyl. So that's pretty cool. I did pay a little bit extra for this, but you know, for the rarity and for the fact that, you know, the black modern pressing version isn't that much more, I figured it was a pretty easy call. And it is on an SST pressing as well. This is a really good record here. Definitely another one that gets mentioned in best Meat Puppets records. And yeah, I would say this is up there with Up on the Sun, Huevos. I hope I'm pronouncing that the right way. And Up on the Sun, definitely my 2 favorites after 2. You know, this did come with an original sleeve, but like I said, I do exchange those out because I don't want them to get damaged. And this is it. I know I have one that is black, but when you hold it up to the light, it's actually see-through. I can't really tell because I don't have direct sunlight, but I think this is it. If it's not, then it's Monsters, but I'm pretty sure it's this. So I bought Monsters off Amazon. I bought this from a private seller. But anyways, Huevos is a good record. I'd say definitely another good gateway record for meat puppets, you know, to kind of get into them. And this one, this is an interesting record. This is actually a compilation. MVD also, I'm pretty sure, yeah. So this is basically the Meat Puppets' first album, and then an EP called In a Car. Now, I had heard In a Car before, and I kind of liked it. It was kind of like abrasive, sloppy punk rock, like you would kind of expect on SST. Meat Puppets 1 with this cover, this is the actual cover for Meat Puppets 1. I had not heard this until I bought this record, and I was kind of horrified by how terrible it is. You know, comparing it to later records as well, especially. And yeah, I haven't listened to In a Car since I picked this up, but I did have it on MP3, and yeah, I can't really listen to it after kind of properly getting into Meat Puppets since then, and kind of getting over my like sloppy lo-fi punk rock phase. Definitely, I'd say one of the worst indie era Meat Puppets records. I really don't like a lot of stuff they've done after Too High to Die, but that stuff is just almost unlistenable to me. Anyways, there you go. Meat Puppets, Sleep, two other great bands. Definitely worth checking out if you have not checked into either of them yet. But yeah, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for some more vinyl collection videos.